Hey, Wakusu, what's going on? It's your Ndugu, Shaka Jajaga Shakur, aka M. Casa, the Bush Doctor, coming back at you with another episode of African Talk, where Africans talk worldwide. And as always, I hope your day is good. I hope your family is good. And most of all, we pray to the Creator and the ancestors to guide our words in the right and not the wrong direction. So let's get into this one more time, y'all. So, family, on today's show, I wanna get into. Somebody sent me a video recently, and it was a brother who confronted this white man who called his son the N-word. Now, in this exchange, the brother handled himself, I guess you could say, very well. He didn't go off, he didn't go crazy, but he put that white man in his place. And he let him know that, I wouldn't do that to your family. How could you do that to my family? Then he went on to tell this man how he had lost his mother, his sister, I think someone else died, like back to back. And he said how it was a vicious thing to do to his child and to his family. And he went on to explain to the white man that you don't know what mind state people are in. So you should be careful on who you disrespect. He said, because had I been in another mind state, nobody could save you right now. You would be at my mercy, right? So that's it. And he goes away or whatever. And everybody, I read the comments, everybody's going in about, oh, he handled himself so eloquently. He handled himself so disciplined. And, he got his point across without acting up and blah, 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 blah. And it got me to thinking, man. I was talking with a few friends of mine, and they were on that vibe too. They were like, well, it's just the fact that he was so, he handled himself with such poise that, we had to give him, you got to give him his props, Shaka. And I said, I got a question. Is that him handling the situation with ultra discipline? Or could it be the polite politics that we've been taught from our grandparents down? The type of politics that because we lived at a time where we could actually be lynched, I hope I could say that word, we would be taken out, right? So we've learned to deal with a European as black people in a certain manner. It's like the police. You learn how to talk to them to try not to escalate the situation because you could lose your life. We do it on our jobs. We learn how to talk a certain way to get your point across without disturbing your income. So polite politics. And I ask you, family, should we continue to have polite politics at this stage in the game? Because I really think that a lot of the racist rants that come out are not by accident. I don't believe that this is a product of some deep festering, misguided whatever. No, they say those things because they feel they can get away with it. Point blank. Europeans, white people, not all, but most. And then my question to even those who I feel have shown me somewhat decency, they live in households with people who would see me on the end of a rope. So do you fight those people in your household when you're sitting at the Thanksgiving table in a few weeks? When Papa, gets up and talks about, the N words and all that, do you get up and say, nah, Pa, we not having that. You can't do that no more. It's a new day and time. And to black folks, do we need to be poised when confronting our oppressor and their sly remarks or their disrespects? And don't get it wrong, because I find myself doing it sometimes too. I've had situations out here on the road where I pull up at places and they'll make little sly jokes about foreigners, you know, and they're talking to me, I guess, to see if I'm gonna feed into it. So they call them foreigners. They're talking about black people, people of color, and or they talk about Mexicans because I'm black, and they think by talking about Mexicans, I'm gonna chuckle a little bit. Maybe people do, I don't, but sometimes I feel like I want to just, you know what I mean? But and instead, I handle it my way. Matter of fact, today I pulled up on a site today. I'm out here in Nevada, and when I pulled up, my trailer has skirts on the side. They're wind resistant skirts, aerodynamic thing, right? So the guy goes, "Wow, that's pretty cool. What are these?" I said, "Oh, these are skirts to stop the wind from going underneath the trailer, and they say it helps with the fuel mileage. You know what I mean? I guess when the wind gets up under there, you have to drive harder, you use more fuel. So this cuts that, like chops right through the wind, aerodynamics." He goes, "Oh, and I bet you could put a lot of illegals under there too." I heard him. I didn't say anything. I kept on walking. Now y'all can't see my lower half, but I have on these very loose pants. They're called hakamas. They're Japanese style pants. I love them to drive in because they're comfortable, right? And I got on some sneakers, whatever. So I hop out, let him in the back. I get back in the truck. Before I get back, I go to the back of the truck. As I'm opening, he says a joke again. Yeah, you could always tell the police you didn't know how those illegals got there. A little extra money for you. You could be a coyote. Because the coyote is the person that helps the illegal residents come over. You know what I mean? So anyway, and I'm not gonna say aliens, I'll say undocumented. That's the word. So they help the undocumented Mexicans get over. They call coyotes. So he says it again. I don't say nothing to it. And then he goes, it'll make a lot of money. I said, yeah, it gets you a lot of jail time too. So I made it serious to get off of that subject. Now, I questioned myself. Should I have snapped on him? Should I have ripped into him? Or what? One side of me wanted to check him, but then the other side of me was like, for what? He's not gonna change. You know what I mean? Then it's like, well, what makes him so comfortable to just say that to me? Is it that he's comfortable, or is it that he's uncomfortable and he's trying to feel me out? Right? So that's just one thing today. And then the conversation went on and he eventually changed his approach. But the point I'm making is, have we black people created such an environment that allows racism to come in like that because of our polite politics? Are we burdened with the behaviors of our grandparents? Maybe it's time we come up with a new set of engagement rules, a new set of politics that doesn't allow that. Okay, my second situation today. After that, I dropped my load. Now I'm in Las Vegas and I'm trying to find a place to park. So a truck is kind of pulling in. I guess he's lining up to back up. I'm trying to get out. So I pull across. So it's a brother outside, white man inside the truck. So the brother, starts doing all this, he's all hyped. So I said, you know what? I'm trying to communicate with him to ask him which way is he going. So I get out the truck. So I walk around. The brother walks in. He's like, yo, we trying to move. We're aggressive. I said, yo, calm down. I'm not trying to take the spot. I'm trying to get out. And then he goes, okay. So before I could square off with the brother and get it resolved, this white man jumps out the truck screaming, yo, what's wrong with you? You crazy? Ah. So I was like, hold up. Who the are you talking to? You done lost your mind. And if you keep talking that way to me, I'm gonna mess around and right upside your head. I'm a grown man. And I'm blinking because I don't want to curse. And I ain't lie. I went there. And the reason I felt I needed to go there, because there was a young brother next to me. You know what I mean? That was working with the white guy. It was a young brother. He could have been no more in his late 20s, mid 20s, right? So I ain't gonna lie. I could have sidestepped it, right? Like I did earlier that day. I could have used those polite politics that Granny showed us. But no, I decided I'm not doing polite politics. I'm gonna meet fire with fire. So you jumping out the truck like you're gonna do something to me. So I'm gonna let you know, bring it. Do what you got to do. So of course the brother gets in the middle. He's like, no, calm down, calm down. Now maybe he's telling me calm down because he don't want to see me get jammed up, or maybe he's trying to protect the white guy. Who knows? But I told the brother, I said, no, no, no. I'm not talking. I told the white guy, I'm not talking to you. I said, brother, I'm talking to you, and you show me respect, so he can do the same thing. So I pull off. So as I'm coming back around, the brother's still standing there, and I pull over. I roll the window down. I say, hey, young brother, let me tell you something, man. Don't ever jump in the way of a man's decision. Let grown men make their decisions and face their consequences. Because I wanted to eliminate that mentality before it sets in with this younger brother. And I told him, I'm not mad at you, brother. You showed respect and restraint. He could do the same thing. And if he doesn't do it, don't get in the way of whatever happens to him, because that's on him. He's like, well, I just don't want to see. Well, sometimes life is not what you want to see, it's what it is. And I told him peace and I moved on. And I did that because I wanted to show that brother, no, we not doing the polite politics no more, brother. No, when they respect us, we'll respect them. But when you don't respect us, we are not going to respect you. And we got to stop acting like talking with a certain demeanor is a prize. Like often I do this podcast, and often I get people say, well articulated. Well, I know what you mean. I mean, I love you guys. I know what you mean. But I laugh because in this society that we live in, when a black man or woman or anybody of color speaks with a mastery of the language, if you will, the first thing we're told is not that you got a good point or those are some good, you dropped some good points. Yo, you sound good. You very articulate, as if we're supposed to be something else. And again, I'm not getting at nobody, but I want to look at the psyche of how we greet and show respect to one another. Sometimes the things we say to each other, though coming from a good place, are part of that colonial suppression that was taught to us for survival. And we've taken it now and we just move on with it. So, do we continue to pass on this pleasant politic, this safe politic, or do we teach the next generation coming up? I mean, younger than me on down to the babies. You ain't got to do it no more. You ain't got to be pleasant. You don't have to be restrained. You don't have to be calm. You don't have to do any of that, black man, black woman, black child. It is not, you know, incumbent on us to always have to check ourselves as black people, people of color, period. We don't have to check ourselves in the face of racism. If a European man or woman feels bold enough to make a racist comment to you, then they should be prepared to deal with the consequences. If I go up to a Jewish person and say anything that is deemed as anti Semitic, I will face consequence. If I go up to a, and excuse me if I'm using this language wrong, a gay or homosexual person, and I make any kind of derogatory remark in regards to that, I will face the consequences. So why is it that black people are the only people that does not apply to? Anybody can come up to us. You know why? Because we shucklebuck and hucklebuck in their faces. And we have to stop that. We don't have to appear intelligent. See, that you're intelligent thing, or you handle yourself so well, that was fed to us by our former enslavers, to make us feel good about being oppressed. You speak well. You're not like the rest of them. We're supposed to hold it in. No, we're not supposed to hold it in. I'm not advocating for violence, if that's what you're thinking. No, I can talk to you, but I might not talk to you with a calm tone. So what? What you said erased my calm demeanor. Now I'm going to give you back your energy just like you insulted me. If I decide to, if I don't, fine, but it's not a prerequisite. It's not, I don't have to do that. We can speak our minds, and we must speak our minds, especially in this day and time. So, again, I pose the question: are these polite politics relevant? Or is that just a thing, an archaic thing that our grannies and grandparents gave to us? Our grandparents, they gave that to us because in their time, they had to trot a certain way. We don't have to do that anymore. We don't have to do that anymore. So I just want to raise that question. And as always, man, share, like, comment. You know, if you like what you're hearing, get in. There's a community attached to this. There's comments down below. Write some comments, family. Let me know what you think so I can read it and then I'll come back and we could chop it up. I don't have the setup yet to go live and be typing and all that. That's coming. But right now, hit those comments. Spread the word. Raise this conversation with people around you. Do black people have to continue to have polite politics? Or can we just speak now? Is it okay for us to have feelings? Is it okay for us to maybe raise our voice every now and then? Is it okay for us to hurt? Or do we have to keep stifling? Do you know that there's a phrase, that phrase, you're a barrel of laughs? Well, I found out. I was told a long time ago by Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, but I went and did my research, and it's a fact. There used to be barrels at street corners, and if a white man was walking towards me as a black man, and let's say I'm laughing about something that somebody said or I'm thinking about it, before I could allow that white man to see me laughing, and he might think I'm laughing at him, I had to open this barrel, stick my head in the barrel, and laugh, get it all out, close the barrel. A barrel of laughs. That's true. You know, that whole premise of, you know, don't be loud, don't be this, don't be that, don't be black, basically. And these things were taught because that's how we got through the world back then. I love my ancestors, but it's a different time and day. So let's raise that question. That's all I got. I'm out. I love y'all.